Merry meet, Annie here. This video is in response to the topic of the week on pagan perspective, which is initiation. If you've come to know me a bit through my videos so far, you know that I am the product of training in formal traditional Wicca. Therefore, my experience was to become a dedicant to Circle, progress through a period of education, and come to the point of initiation into that circle. I don't have an opinion about initiation or initiation rites if it's not part of your formal tradition, if it's not part of your informal tradition, and if it's not part of your personal path if you're solitary. For me, the experience, my growing up years, my first experiences of paganism were through formal Wicca. And the process of first dedicating to Circle, which allowed me to come to the Circle, saying I want to devote myself to this path of study, to present myself to brothers and sisters in that circle. That right also allowed them to champion me, to step forward to meet me and say, we're here for you. We will teach you, we will guide you, we will share our expertise with you. The elder who was responsible for my training, and who became the person who initiated me, had primary responsibility for teaching me. But various members of the coven had experiences in certain areas that made them expert in a certain area, and they would take me under their wing and teach me what they knew well, what had been taught to them by those who came before them. So the process was one of being shared by the village in a loving and kind way. Knowledge freely shared and passed down. Coming to know all the members of the coven, and especially having a relationship with the person who was the elder who was responsible for my teaching. And when the time came that both I and he felt that I had reached the point of initiation, it was the point at which I could stand at the edge of Circle and know what I was leaving behind and what I was taking on. After all these years, even trying to hold my act together as I talk to all of you, the 1,000 of you who look at these videos on pagan perspective, if I were to stop now and just stop and think, I would come to tears of absolute joy over that experience. It is one of the most powerful experiences of my life, and I have been blessed with many life-changing experiences in my life. Initiation, one of the most powerful and life-altering. So I thought that what I would share as my perspective is not how valid or invalid initiation is. If it's valid to you, it's valid. If your tradition is informal and doesn't call for it, or if as a solitary you don't feel the need for it, you're following a different path, there is no reason to debate its validity. But if you are dedicating to a community, if you are stepping from aloneness into the embrace of your brothers and sisters, if you have sat at the feet of elders who have taught you what was taught them, which in turn have been taught to them and to them, the standing at the edge, grateful for that knowledge and for that training, having come to a place of understanding of how you arrived at that particular moment in your life, all the bits that made you up and brought you standing to the edge of that circle on your night of initiation. You've come to an understanding working with your teachers of how you got to be where you are, what your strengths and your failings are. You have met your God and your goddess. You have developed, to a certain extent, your magical skills and your knowledge. And there you stand at the edge of Circle, stepping into Circle. That moment when you step into your initiation is realizing you've come to that point in your life, offering it up, and stepping into the shared communal experience that you'll have with your brothers and sisters It's a way of both acknowledging the power of your past and the potential for your future. You have struggled and faced the things which you have left unfaced in your life, the things that hold you back, the things that keep you less than complete, the things that keep you from being in touch with your most pure essential self, which is the place where your magics will originate. It is also the place where you come in contact with your God and your goddess. So what I wanted to share was, when you meet someone who's been through a formal initiation, regardless of your own thoughts, whether you need it, don't need it, whether you have a formal or informal circle that does or does not include it, for that person, it is probably, like me, going to have been one of the most important moments of their life. To be held and supported and cared for by the members of that coven. To have gained knowledge that they have freely given you, holding nothing back. For them, in all honesty, to say, here is where community, where tribe sees your power, but also where they see where you're falling short, where you're not living up to your potential, where you are not living up to what the gods expect of you. It's not about what is done in initiation. It's not about the process. It's not about the words. What I wanted to share with you is the emotion of it for those of us who've experienced it. Life-changing and life-altering. Is it necessary? You know, we go through life, all of us, with struggles and challenges and moments that define us. Something extremely joyous or extremely sorrowful happens. The challenges of life. And we are not the same after those challenges that we were before. But you know, a lot of those things are thrust upon us. Birth and death, the sorrows, the challenges, the changes we go through in life. Most of those come to us. The path of initiation is you intentionally seeking to arrive at that kind of pivot moment in your life. When you stand at the edge of circle that night, you know what you're aligned with. You know your guardians. You know your God and Goddess. You know your ancestors. You know the spirit of all who have come before and stood at that same place are with you. And when you step into that circle that night, you are very aware what you're leaving behind, what is part of you that will be forever an intimate part of you, and that you're willingly stepping in to the next phase of your learning and your growing and your being member of the community to which you've committed. That's what I wanted to share about initiation. No facts and figures, no opinions, but just an expression from one witch of what the power of that experience was. And an appreciation. We all have moments that are these moments in our life when we know we are changed forever. We don't always choose those moments. Sometimes we are not aware of those moments until they are past or even long past when we look back on them. Initiation is choosing to be on that edge, to look into your past, to look deep into yourself, to look into your relationship with the gods, and step intentionally into the next part of your life knowing you are changed. That's what I wanted to share about initiation. I wish you mirth and reverence. Merry part.